What if the Great Pyramid of Giza was never meant to be a tomb, but a transmitter of cosmic intelligence, an ancient machine built not for the dead, but for the awakening of the living? Why does this massive structure, carved with impossible precision, align perfectly with the stars as if obeying a celestial command? Why are there no inscriptions, no treasures, no pharaoh's remains, only silence, geometry, and mystery? Could this monument be more than stone? Could it be a message, a coded blueprint, holding secrets that modern science has yet to grasp? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, what if the pyramid was never meant to be studied, but experienced? What if it is not just a relic of the past, but a mirror for your soul, a symbol of the transformation you were born to undergo? If you've ever felt there's more to this world than what we've been told, if you've sensed that ancient truths have been buried, not just beneath the sands of Egypt, but deep within your own being, then stay with me. What you're about to uncover may change the way you see yourself, and the universe, forever. Beneath the blazing sun of the Egyptian desert, an eternal enigma stands sentinel, its shape perfect, its presence imposing, yet shrouded in layers of mystery and silent wisdom. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a monument not merely of stone, but of cosmic code, ancient knowledge, and secrets whispered across millennia. What if I told you that this colossal structure, older than recorded history, is more than a tomb or architectural marvel? What if it is a gateway, a vessel of hidden messages encoded in its very design, waiting for those who dare to decipher its cryptic language? Tonight, we journey beyond the sands and into the shadows of forgotten epochs. We peel back the veils of time to uncover the esoteric truths encrypted within the Great Pyramid's sacred geometry, aligned with stars and cycles far beyond human imagination. This is not a story of kings and pharaohs alone, but of cosmic principles, celestial harmonies, and a secret wisdom meant to awaken the soul. In this exploration, we will traverse the ancient corridors of history and philosophy, unveiling why this knowledge was concealed from the world. We will decode the pyramid's architecture as a map, not just of earthly realms but of higher consciousness. Along the way, you'll glimpse how this ancient wisdom still pulses with relevance today, offering keys to transformation, insight, and spiritual awakening. Prepare yourself for a revelation that transcends time, a tale of light hidden in stone, and a message encoded in silence. What truths have been buried beneath the pyramid's colossal weight? What ancient voices still echo through its chambers? The answers lie ahead, inviting you to unlock the secrets of the Great Pyramid's hidden messages. Long before modern science or organized religion claimed dominion over the mysteries of existence, ancient civilizations gazed into the cosmos and built monuments that echoed the rhythms of the universe itself. Among these, none stand as awe-inspiring, or as misunderstood, as the Great Pyramid of Giza. While mainstream history books often frame it as a mere tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, deeper inquiry reveals a far more profound possibility, that the Great Pyramid is a repository of universal wisdom, encoded in stone for those with eyes to see. Constructed around 4,500 years ago, or possibly even earlier, according to alternative chronologies, the Great Pyramid aligns with extraordinary precision to the cardinal points of the Earth. Its base is nearly a perfect square, and its proportions mirror sacred geometrical constants found in nature, music, and even the human body. These are not the markings of a civilization stumbling through its architectural infancy, but of one deeply attuned to the metaphysical principles governing the cosmos. What kind of knowledge would it take to manifest such perfection in an age supposedly primitive? And more importantly, who were the keepers of this knowledge? Many esoteric traditions, from the Hermetic to the Theosophical, speak of a lost civilization, Atlantis, or perhaps a forgotten pre-dynastic Egyptian culture, that possessed wisdom far surpassing our own. These ancient initiates, it is said, encoded spiritual and scientific truths into sacred structures, using them as teaching tools for future generations. The Great Pyramid may have been their masterpiece, not a mausoleum of death, but a monument to life's eternal cycles, birth, transformation, ascension. It was never meant to be understood by the masses, but by the initiated, those who had prepared their minds and purified their hearts to receive its message. This concealment of sacred knowledge was not done out of elitism, but out of necessity. In ages past, wisdom was considered dangerous in the wrong hands, capable of awakening, yes, but also of destruction. Thus, truths were veiled in symbol and allegory, hidden behind stone and starlight, awaiting those who could penetrate the outer form to reach the inner light. Over time, as empires rose and fell, this knowledge slipped further into obscurity. Priests were silenced, texts were burned, and mystery schools faded into the shadows. The Great Pyramid remained, silent and imposing, its meaning obscured by centuries of conquest and corruption. But not all was lost. In the writings of ancient philosophers like Plato, Herodotus, and Pythagoras, we find breadcrumbs, hints that the Egyptians were custodians of a deeper truth. Pythagoras, for instance, studied in Egypt for 22 years before founding his school of mystic mathematics. Plato hinted at initiations into sacred rites where truths were transmitted not through speech, but through vision and direct experience. Even in the biblical tradition, Egypt is portrayed not only as a place of bondage, but as a land of profound spiritual mystery. What if the Great Pyramid was a center of this initiation, a chamber of rebirth for the soul? Philosophically, the pyramid can be seen as a mirror of the human journey. Its base represents the material world, the realm of chaos, limitation, and duality. As one ascends through its structure, the passage narrows, forcing one to confront inner darkness, fear, and illusion. At the apex, where all sides converge into a single point, lies the symbol of unity, of transcendence, where opposites dissolve and divine truth is revealed. This is not mere architecture, it is allegory made manifest, a symbolic journey carved into stone. Why, then, has this perspective been ignored or dismissed? The answer is complex, but it lies in the tension between power and truth. A society that encourages personal spiritual awakening threatens hierarchical control. It shifts authority from institutions to individuals. So, over time, the pyramid's true purpose was buried under layers of literalism and historical reductionism. The mystery was turned into myth, the myth into folklore, and the truth was nearly lost, nearly. But now, as humanity teeters on the edge of a new awakening, the ancient echoes grow louder. The Great Pyramid still stands, and its message is calling to us once more, if we dare to listen, to look beyond the stone, and to remember who we truly are. To begin unlocking the Great Pyramid's hidden messages, we must first understand that this monument was never meant to be just seen, it was meant to be experienced. Its message is not read in hieroglyphs etched on its walls, for there are none. It speaks through silence, symmetry, vibration, and proportion. It is a riddle, not in words, but in form, offering a language that transcends speech. Its every angle, chamber, and alignment whispers truths to the initiate who approaches it not as a tourist, but as a seeker. The Great Pyramid is precisely aligned to true north with an accuracy that continues to mystify modern engineers. Its dimensions encode mathematical constants such as pi symbol, and the golden ratio, phi, as if these were not simply abstract numbers but sacred principles etched into the very bones of the universe. When measured in cubits, an ancient unit believed to be derived from the human body, the pyramid's dimensions mirror those of the Earth itself. The ratio of its height to its base equates to the ratio of the Earth's radius to its circumference. This is no coincidence. It suggests a sophisticated understanding of our planet's dimensions, an understanding that, according to conventional timelines, should have been centuries beyond the capabilities of ancient builders. But the physical measurements are only the outer shell. The inner structure of the pyramid is where the metaphysical teachings come to life. Inside, we find a network of narrow shafts and enigmatic chambers, the most famous being the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the mysterious subterranean chamber carved deep into the bedrock. These are not arbitrary rooms, they form a symbolic journey, a spiritual initiation encoded in space. The initiate would begin in the lowest chamber, symbolic of the unconscious, the underworld, or the beginning of the soul's descent into material incarnation. This chamber is raw, unfinished, primitive, mirroring the chaotic, unrefined state of a soul yet to awaken. From there, the journey ascends toward the Queen's Chamber, which lies at the heart of the pyramid. This middle point represents balance, the awakening of the inner feminine, the intuitive, receptive, nurturing aspect of the soul that must be honored for inner alignment. Finally, the path leads to the King's Chamber, high within the structure, constructed with mathematical precision and resonant with natural frequencies. Here, in this elevated place of stillness and geometry, one meets the divine masculine, the logos, the cosmic intelligence, and attains symbolic union, a resurrection into higher consciousness. Even the so-called air shafts that stretch from these chambers outward to the stars suggest that this was no mere tomb, but a star temple. One shaft points toward Orion's belt, linked in ancient Egyptian lore to Osiris, the god of rebirth and resurrection. Another aligns with Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, associated with Isis, the goddess of divine magic and mystery. These stellar connections hint that the pyramid is not just terrestrial, but celestial, a bridge between heaven and earth, a map for the soul's return to the stars. Let us not forget the Grand Gallery, an inclined passage leading to the King's Chamber. This narrow, steep corridor may symbolize the path of spiritual striving, steep, confining, and filled with pressure. The acoustics in this gallery are otherworldly. Sound reverberates in strange ways, as if the pyramid itself responds to the voice. Could this have been used in chanting rituals, harmonics, or vibrational initiations? Ancient initiates believed that sound was a force of creation, that certain frequencies could open inner portals, stir dormant energies, and unlock divine memory. The pyramid, then, may have been less a structure and more a living instrument, tuned to the cosmos and the human soul alike. But here lies the paradox: the deeper you venture into its corridors, the more questions arise. How was it built with such impossible precision? Why are there no inscriptions detailing its construction or purpose? Why do its dimensions encode both the earth and the stars? Why does it speak in silence rather than in symbols? These riddles are not flaws, they are features. The pyramid was designed not to give you answers, but to provoke deeper inquiry, to awaken the sacred fire of curiosity, the desire to remember what has been forgotten. At its heart, the Great Pyramid is not just a monument. It is a mirror. It reflects the cosmos, the earth, and the initiate's own journey inward. Its hidden messages are not merely in the stone but in the soul of the one who seeks to understand it. And once you begin to see with more than your eyes, to feel with more than your senses, the pyramid begins to speak. Not in words, but in revelation. As we go deeper into the labyrinth of the Great Pyramid's mystery, we must release the need for conventional explanations and allow ourselves to think as the ancient initiates thought, not linearly, but symbolically. The pyramid is not merely an artifact, it is a living codex of cosmic wisdom. Its language is one of geometry, frequency, and consciousness. Its purpose? To preserve a sacred science, the science of transformation, of resurrection, of the divine pattern hidden within the human form. Let us return to the king's chamber. Carved entirely from rose granite, a stone rich in quartz, known for its piezoelectric properties, the chamber is more than a room. It is an energetic crucible. Quartz, under pressure, generates electrical currents. Could the structure have harnessed the Earth's natural vibrations, magnifying and focusing energy within the chamber like a resonant amplifier? Sound, breath, intention, when combined in such a space, could have induced altered states of consciousness. Some researchers believe the Great Pyramid acted as a kind of consciousness accelerator, a place where initiates underwent symbolic death and rebirth, not just metaphorically, but vibrationally. And then, there's the sarcophagus. It lies empty, unadorned, unclaimed. Unlike other tombs in Egypt, there is no mummy, no treasure, no inscription. It is not a coffin, it is a vessel. Some traditions claim the initiate would lie within it during sacred rites. In complete darkness, encased in stone, they would confront their deepest fears, journey through the underworld of their own mind, and emerge reborn, attuned to higher realities. The sarcophagus becomes the womb of transformation, the alchemical crucible where the base metal of the ego is transmuted into the gold of spiritual awareness. There are also clues hidden in what is missing. Why was the pyramid constructed without inscriptions? Unlike the temples and tombs of later dynasties, which overflow with hieroglyphs and carvings, the Great Pyramid remains silent. This silence is intentional. It tells us that what is being transmitted is beyond language. It must be felt, experienced, remembered, not read. This is gnosis, not knowledge. Revelation, not instruction. The initiate was not handed a text, they were brought into alignment with the universal order through direct experience. And consider the missing capstone. The pyramid, as it stands, is incomplete, its apex absent. Some claim this stone was never placed. Others believe it was removed. But in the language of symbol, its absence is deeply meaningful. The missing capstone suggests that perfection is not in completion but in striving. It reminds us that the ascent is ongoing, that the final union with the divine remains a mystery to be realized, not a fact to be possessed. In Masonic traditions, the unfinished pyramid represents the evolution of the soul, forever reaching upward, seeking the light. Yet still, we are only scratching the surface. Some researchers have posited that the Great Pyramid may encode an advanced understanding of physics and metaphysics alike. For instance, the internal measurements of the chambers and passages correspond to celestial cycles, the precession of the equinoxes, the distances between planetary bodies, the orbital ratios of Earth and Venus. How could such knowledge exist in a culture presumed to lack even the wheel? Unless, of course, they had access to a wisdom that has since been lost, or hidden. Others suggest the pyramid is a terrestrial anchor point for an ancient grid of energy lines known as ley lines or the Earth's acupuncture meridians. These lines connect sacred sites across the globe: Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Angkor Wat, all resonating with similar principles of geometry, astronomy, and spiritual symbolism. Could the pyramid have once functioned as a tuning fork for the planet itself, harmonizing Earth's frequencies with the divine blueprint? If so, its purpose was not to glorify a king but to maintain a balance between heaven and earth, spirit and matter. Even the term pyramid may hold secrets. From the Greek pyra, meaning fire or light, and metos, meaning measure, we can derive a poetic interpretation, a measure of fire, or the measurement of light. This is not accidental. Light, in spiritual traditions, has always symbolized truth, awareness, the divine essence. The Great Pyramid, then, becomes the measure of light, the standard against which the soul's inner illumination is weighed. But perhaps the most profound secret is this: the pyramid is a map not only of the earth or the cosmos, but of you. Your body is a temple. Your soul is the initiate. Your journey from unconscious shadow to awakened light mirrors the inner architecture of the pyramid itself. You begin below, lost in the darkness. You ascend, slowly, through narrow passages of struggle, seeking clarity. You reach the sacred chamber, not at the top, but within, and in that stillness, you remember. You awaken. You rise. In the end, the Great Pyramid does not give answers. It gives you back to yourself. So, how does one take this towering mystery of stone and starlight and bring it into their daily life? How can the Great Pyramid, silent and immovable as it seems, whisper wisdom that transforms our modern existence? The answer lies in internalizing its principles, for the pyramid was never just an external monument, it was a mirror of the soul's journey, a sacred guide for the transformation of human consciousness. Its truths can be lived, not just studied. Begin with alignment. The Great Pyramid is aligned with such precision to true north that it rivals, and even surpasses, our most advanced technologies. This is your first teaching: align your life. Not just externally, but internally. What are your guiding principles? Where is your inner, true north? This alignment doesn't come from social expectations or fleeting desires, but from a deeper resonance, your inner compass, your soul's calling. To find it, you must get still. Meditate daily, even if only for a few minutes. Sit in silence, just as the pyramid sits in silence. Allow your thoughts to settle like dust in a forgotten chamber. In that stillness, your alignment begins to emerge. Next is the journey inward. Just as initiates once entered the pyramid to undergo rites of passage and spiritual awakening, you too must descend into your inner labyrinth. Face your shadows. Acknowledge your fears, your insecurities, your illusions. The path to illumination is not a bypass of darkness, it is a descent through it. Journal your thoughts, your dreams, your emotional triggers. Practice dream recall and shadow work. Use your mind as the grand gallery, and let your breath be the sacred chant that echoes within it. With every conscious breath, you ascend. Sound and frequency were central to the pyramid's mystery, and they can become a tool for your transformation as well. Incorporate sound healing into your practice. Use tuning forks, singing bowls, or simply chant sacred sounds like Om, which resonates through the body like the hum of the earth itself. Your voice is your instrument. When used with reverence and intention, it awakens parts of the soul that language cannot reach. Try vocal toning in meditation, especially in a quiet, resonant space. Speak mantras or affirmations not as words, but as vibrations, echoes of the divine truth you're calling forth. Then comes the principle of sacred geometry. The Great Pyramid embodies the golden ratio, pi, and the divine proportions seen in galaxies, sunflowers, nautilus shells, and even the human face. Begin to recognize these patterns around you, and within you. Look for the sacred design in chaos. Study the flower of life. Reflect on how your own body, with its spiral DNA and golden proportions, is a walking testament to the same universal intelligence that built the pyramid. Begin arranging your life in harmony with this geometry. Clean your spaces. Simplify. Surround yourself with symmetry and beauty. Let order become a daily devotion. Ritual also plays a powerful role. The ancients understood that repeated, symbolic acts could imprint the psyche with sacred meaning. Create your own initiation rites. These need not be elaborate. They must simply be intentional. Light a candle at sunrise to welcome the light of truth. Stand barefoot on the earth and speak your intentions to the sky. Sit beneath the stars and reflect on your origins beyond this realm. Create an altar with crystals, symbols, or sacred texts. Let your life become a temple, one where every act, no matter how small, is a gesture of reverence. And above all, remember the lesson of the missing capstone. The journey is never complete. There will always be more to discover, more to refine, more to awaken. Do not seek perfection. Seek presence. Seek the tension between what you know and what you do not. This sacred tension is what propels you forward. Let the unfinished apex remind you that the divine mystery is not a puzzle to be solved, but a presence to be lived. Finally, beware the modern pitfall of superficial knowledge. The mysteries of the pyramid are not for entertainment, they are for transformation. Do not merely consume this information. Let it consume you. Let it burn away what is false. Let it crack open your rigid beliefs. Let it rearrange your inner architecture. For the Great Pyramid's true power is not in its stones, but in the soul it awakens. You are the initiate now. The blueprint has been laid. The chambers have been opened. The echoes have reached your ears. The question is no longer, what does the pyramid mean? The real question is, will you live the message it was built to carry? The Great Pyramid stands, timeless and unyielding, a sentinel of ancient wisdom casting its shadow across centuries. Yet for those with eyes to see and hearts willing to listen, it is more than a monument, it is a messenger. Its voice is not heard in speech, but in silence, not in writing, but in resonance. And now, you have walked its halls not with your feet, but with your spirit. You have seen the hidden geometry, felt the pulse of its silent chambers, and glimpsed the luminous blueprint it was built to protect. We began this journey asking what secrets the Great Pyramid holds, and in truth, it holds many. But the deepest of them do not live in facts or figures. They live in you. Because to unlock the pyramid is to unlock yourself. Its passageways are the corridors of your own awakening. Its missing capstone is the dream you are still reaching toward. Its resonance is the echo of your own soul calling you home. What once seemed distant and mysterious now stands as an invitation, not to understand, but to become. Let the pyramid teach you to listen, to the patterns in your life, the order within chaos, the divine intelligence woven through every moment. Let it remind you that the greatest mysteries are not solved with logic, but revealed through experience. That stillness is not emptiness, but the birthplace of revelation. And that the architecture of the divine has always been written not only in stone, but in the human heart. This is the path of the seeker, not to chase after secret knowledge, but to become the vessel for it. To live a life of alignment, presence, and reverence. To build, within yourself, a sacred space so precise, so harmonious, that the divine has no choice but to dwell there. And so, the Great Pyramid's message to you is clear: you are not a passive observer of ancient wonders. You are a continuation of the mystery. A living glyph of an eternal truth. Your awakening is not separate from the past, it is the fulfillment of it. So, I ask you now, not as a historian, but as a fellow initiate on the path, what part of your soul remains buried in stone, waiting to be uncovered? What divine message have you carried in silence, waiting to be heard? If this journey stirred something within you, if the pyramid whispered to you as it once whispered to sages long forgotten, then do not let the silence return. Share what you've received. Reflect on what you've remembered. And above all, begin building, not in limestone, but in light. If you found this exploration meaningful, consider subscribing, sharing your thoughts below, or joining our growing circle of seekers as we continue to unveil the sacred mysteries, one truth at a time. Until next time, may you walk in alignment, live in resonance, and remember, you are the key. The pyramid is the lock. The awakening is yours to claim.